Is there now?
Yeah.
I.
Yeah, I can see that. That's another. I think that's.
Well, I mean, you said.
I know.
The state for the, what you're planning on doing, the, go through traffic with
Laura, Laura.
and I don't say why. That's all, that's, you know, the church is also.
Just for you know, as long as you have your audio, or excuse me, your video on, you will be shown live stream on YouTube. So if you don't want to be, if you don't want to be, based on YouTube, go ahead and turn off your video.
Get a photo of it, shoot this.
Rosemary, would you do me a favor? Hey, dear, could you take a picture with the judge, please?
Connie's got it.
Oh, Connie's got it? Here, I need one on my phone too.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Right here, in front of the line. Well, that's the other trains. I gotta get these on.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Hopefully we do this next year.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. Thank you. That's.
You know, I can give you a picture. I got a bit of thing. I think they'll get it. Big screen. I think we did.
All that.
If you didn't see us work about 1 second, but I guess when they told when I bring it up. I should say that, but I don't think.
The old one, yeah.
Yeah.
It had no signatures.
We're good.
Rudy, Blair.
So easy. Down the road.
Sheila, did you plug that one other one in? Yeah, you need to turn, yeah. Yeah.
Like to have your attention.
I love that.
It's 9 o'clock, in the call of Blanco County Commissioners Court of Order. It is Tuesday, February the 10th, 2026, and after this commercial, we call the roll.
Judge Gray,
Here.
Commissioner Weir, Commissioner,
Here.
Commissioner Eastman,
Here.
Commissioner Riley.
Here. Please join us in pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, to heaven, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Please remain standing to the invocation. 15.
Heavenly Father, may the peace that comes from you rule in our hearts, and may we always be thankful for what you provide. Father, we pray for Blanco County firefighters and surrounding counties that have been able to assist over the last few days. Bless these servants who generously devote themselves to helping others. We ask for your divine protection as they face each situation. For the passing of Judge Krause in Comal County, we pray for his family, friends, colleagues, and community. Father, please draw near to all who mourn his loss. Guide them to seek your peace and comfort. Father, we ask for continued prayers for Doug Bledsoe. We pray for healthy healing for him and his medical staff to make the proper decisions that are best for him. We thank you for being our refuge and our strength. We thank you and pray all this in your son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Before moving to our standard agenda, the first item of business today will be a public hearing. A notice of public hearing was issued and it concerns no through zone for Cox Road, Lindenwood Lane, and Chaos Trail. I have two individuals that have signed up to speak as part of the public hearing. I'm calling you all shortly. The court also received a written communication from Mr. John Ransom, who has a Grapevine Trail address in Blanco, Texas. I'm just going to read it into the record here. It says, Gray, I am very strongly in favor of no through truck traffic on Chaos Trail for the following reasons. The paving on Chaos Trail is not in good shape and heavy truck traffic will quickly destroy it. Chaos Trail has only one lane in many places, so even passenger cars have to wait on each other. So heavy truck traffic will create problems and a potential safety risk. Chaos Trail has several very tight turns, which articulating trucks will have a tough time navigating, particularly the stretch south of the low water crossing over Flat Creek. I can't help but stop there and just say, I have come to believe that Flat Creek goes around and around and around in circles in Blanco County, because everything from Round Mountain to south of Blanco is called Flat Creek.
That is correct.
I live and am registered to vote at the above address, which is just off Chaos Trail. I also own the stretch of land between Highway 165 and Blanco River low water crossing that the county had a restricted easement over for Chaos Trail. Please include this letter in the record for the February 10, 2026 meeting on this topic, as I cannot attend in person. And please let me know if I can do anything else in support of no through truck traffic on Chaos Trail. Sincerely, John and Ransom. Commissioner Riley, before we call the two individuals that have signed up on this public hearing, do you have any introduction you want to make?
So a little bit, not too much, but the residents predominantly on Cox Road were the ones that discussed this with me first. And there are several parts, if anybody has traveled Cox Road, Chaos Trails, or Lindenwood Lane, know on Cox Road, which is probably the heaviest travel through road from 32 to 165. Goes down to a one-lane bridge. And there's several one-lane cattle guards. The road has been re-chip sealed and is quickly diminished because of the amount of traffic on there. And so with the weight of these bigger trucks coming through there, the cattle guards are getting punished. The road's getting punished. Lindeman Lane, most of that road is a one-lane road. And a lot of Tejas Trails he is correct, is a one-lane road, only bridge on it. So that is why I'm before the court today discussing this, and look forward to hearing what you're talking about.
In case, it was not clear earlier, I declare the public hearing open on this matter that Commissioner Riley just identified and introduced, and I submit into the record Mr. Ransom's letter on this topic. Addition, I'll call a couple of individuals that asked to speak on this. The rules of Blanco County Commissioners Court are 3 minutes for public comment. I'm having trouble with my internet this morning to pull up. Going to verify that whether or not these rules apply to a public hearing setting as well, I don't know, but in absence of some internet access, I guess I'll just say for the 2 individuals I'm about to call, we won't stick to the 3 minute public comment rule as you're specifically here on a public hearing, but I would ask you to keep your comments concise as you can, please. Let's start with, I hope I can pronounce this even close. Is it Julie Wigan?
That's correct.
Ms. Wigan from Cox Road.
Yes,
Welcome.
thank you. I won't belabor the point. Sounds like we all have the same concerns, but on Cox Road, where I live, there are blind curves. There's no striking. It is a narrow road, and Charles mentioned the one lane low water crossing. Speed is also a concern. Not just truck traffic, but regular traffic, that if we can stop the trucks from coming through, that's progress. We appreciate the road being resurfaced recently, and I don't want to see that degraded before it's done. So I would support prohibiting the commercial truck traffic through Cox, Lindeman, and Huntsville.
Okay, question,
Yes,
or how long have you lived out there?
10 years.
So that's gonna be right on the cusp. Were you there for the flood or?
Just after.
Just after you got lucky and was just
Yeah.
after?
Yes.
So it was brought to my attention by someone this morning that, you know, there's some PEC trucks that have a lot of weight, and big drills and other things, because they're putting in poles, utility poles. So they're gonna only have to be on that eventually do service the poles on that road. And they might even be passing it through, if that's something that you and your neighbors have a concern about.
No, not for necessary utility work. It's
You're not
the,
gonna pick up the phone and call the sheriff.
no, it's the 18-wheelers, the dump trucks,
After the 15th month truck, but the same thing.
Yes.
You get a little tired of it.
I do, and I have called some of the companies before when they were speeding, just to let them know their vehicles were going too fast on a narrow road.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, I think that covers everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's,
Mr. Jerry Dawson. Welcome to close.
Good morning.
Is that close? Is it pronouncing it?
Dosser, is it correct? Not here to waste anybody's time in there. I don't want to belabor anything either that you've heard already, but I do want to bring up some things. The pros of people using this go back and forth is just mainly for convenience, and they've learned to route themselves instead of getting closer to town. using us as a cut. And that's really the only reasons I can say. My name is Jerry Gosser, and I live at 3387 Cox Road. And I've lived there for 22 years. The cons is, we're really not a subdivision that requires a lot of traffic of this type that's coming through here. It's just a cut through, and we've got a bus route on there that could develop some problem one of these days because of the elevation changes and curves and windiness of the road, and that could one day become a problem. And the reason is I've never seen a sheriff department vehicle out there watching the speed on the road, which is sometimes, really excessive. I wished I could do something today about the motorcycle traffic. That's not for today. I got a golf cart in 2013 and started doing my trash route, and I go from 32 to Cox Cemetery. This is important because the trash is, when the trucks are running, and you know when the trucks run, there's no doubt about it on the road because they're going fast and they're like hornets. They travel in packs and then they're gone for a little while and then they're back. Trash is a bad indicator because when the trash increases, you can tell that the truck traffic has. And my problem with it is because of beer cans and things related to alcohol, when those trucks are there, that trash is on the side of it. There's no doubt about it. The river bridge, the transition from the river bridge to on the south side of the road there, it's very steep. Trailers really don't need to be on there because they hit bottom and drag and cause trouble, and the speed and the river bridge and the cattle cars are really taking some abuse because those trucks just beat the fire out of the cattle cars and they all got that. And I'm just wondering about the small bridge that's north of the river bridge, the low zoning bridge. I don't know if anybody has gone into that, but I really think that if we could get anything done here today, that we could at least load zone those roads so that they wouldn't be demolished by the big truck. We've got hydraulic excavators and cement mixers and stuff, and trucks of all kinds and all lengths. And I really don't think that they need to be on these little subdivision roads. Because there's nobody there that I know of that's in business. It's just people living their lives and their children. Thank you.
1 second. Do you mind if I share something with you? Sure. And actually, this is directed at you and Ms. Wiggin, both of you speaking today on the subject. You said something at the very beginning about apologizing or not wanting to take too much time, whatever. And I'm not sure that either of you appreciates the importance of what you're doing, because when a commissioner, any commissioner, decides to bring something like this to the board, it's a regulatory matter, and it's affecting people's rights, it's affecting the workers' rights and others. And so it's necessary, in my mind, it's necessary to have a record for the court to be justified in taking an action. And when you and Ms. Wiggin get up here and you say the things that you do, and it's being recorded for posterity, that helps the court if in the event that they want to go forward with another truck traffic regulation. And so your participation is not only welcome, but it's critical to justify court action sometimes. So don't ever feel reticent or for all of it, because we appreciate it greatly.
Thank you so much, and Charles is doing a really good job.
Thank you, sir.
Good job. Is there anyone else present that would like to come forward and speak on during the public hearing on the no through truck zone issue?
So Judge, I'd like to make a comment from PEC. PEC regarding the no-through truck on the agenda. Just making or confirming that trucks making legitimate, direct and local delivery or services within the area are permitted. And also wanted to confirm that if this passed, it would not impact PEC's day-to-day functions after hours or emergency responses in that area. So just, I'll put that in the record. And that was from PEC External Relations.
Never mind. I was thinking when I read through this order that it talks, that it made reservations for, or exceptions for even, I mean, clearly PEC trucks are vital to the residents in the area, and if you get any resident, they probably is on that line. But individual, I can see a heavy truck bringing furniture or taking furniture, other reasons for once. And if I'm not mistaken, that's carved out or exempted in this.
Right, well, I mean, it's like a concrete truck that is delivering concrete in the middle of any one of these roads. If it's a delivery onto the road, they have to get there.
Really, by definition, through means going all the
From
way.
32 to 165.
And
And it says that in here.
is there anyone else that would like to speak at this public hearing? Seeing no one.
This comes off this.
Anything else, anything you want to share on this?
No, I'm just telling her also.
Yes, we do. All right, then with that said, I'm going to close the public hearing and return to the regular meeting. There is an item, commissioners, at the end of the public hearing that says discussion on the proposed curriculum, but we also have item 7, which is discussion and possible action on the curriculum. So you can take your choice if you want to talk about it now or if you want to talk about it in the regular meeting.
Which goes in the regular meeting.
Then we move to public comments, and I don't have any. So moving to item 1 on the agenda is your consideration of the minutes from the prior meeting.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to dispense with reading of the minutes from the regular January 27th and a special January 29th meeting and accept them as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Weir, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 2, payroll.
Make a motion to approve the estimated February payroll in the amount of $693,749.60.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Riley, discussion. So we've researched a lot of these, and I bet if you went back over time and you look at how many times Commissioner Leesman makes the motion to approve the payroll, it's got to be 99% of the time that we meet. And some people take advantage of that and say things like, well, it's obvious that open meetings are being violated, that they discuss this ahead of time and have it all spelled out. The honest truth is, Ms. Swift puts together the payroll document. It's in our packets. We can all see it. It's the same. It's virtually the same, or it's along the same lines. It's the same as it is every month for years. And it's just more of a tradition than anything that the item is addressed and passed the way it does. But I can assure you, I can assure you that nobody on this dais has had conversations about with each other about the estimated payroll or any of these regular items. And I feel the need to just say that during this time in Blanco County. With that said, if there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye. And opposed, motion carries. The next item is official reports, and they're all in.
I move to approve the official reports for January 2026.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Eager, discussion. All in favor say aye. All opposed, motion carries. Item 4, line item, we have no line item transfers, so we'll move to item 5.
I'll make a motion to approve the outstanding bills in the amount of $208,208.60. And also ratify the bills in the amount of $3,096.11.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Riley, discussion. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries. Today we have the honor of having George Washington with us. He will be making a presentation to us concerning both President Washington's actual birthday as well as next Monday, President's Day, which honors Washington and I think Jefferson.
Sheriff, Sam, I'm gonna do a sword. I was allowed, the judge allowed me to bring my sword in for the first time in 8 years. So in honor of the commissioners and the judge, a period correct sword salute. In your recognition and honor. Thank you, sir. My name is Blair Rudy. I'm a member of the Sons of the American Revolution, and joining me today is a Blanco County resident, Frank Lamont. He's due with us. And then Frank said, "What can I do?" And I said, "You can stand with me in front of the judge." So thank you. Welcome, Frank. You plan to read the document? Or you're welcome to do that. I don't have it in front of me. Oh, that's fine. But that's fine. It declares February 22nd as George Washington Day. You're recognized through the county. I do thank you for the approval of that proclamation. A few words about George Washington. Every year I reach around and go, what am I going to say this year? You guys, this is, like I said, this is year 8. 1776 was a really horrible year for the Revolution. George Washington was successful at Boston. He was not successful in New York, where they went next, and suffered a very humiliating defeat and lots of mistakes on his part. He's made a comment in his memoirs that he was out general by our generals were out general by the British. However, as he was leaving the Battle of Long Island, as the army retreated across New Jersey, an 18-year-old Virginia lieutenant named James Monroe, later to be president, wrote, quote, "I saw him at the head of a small band, or rather in its rear, where he was always near the enemy. And his confidence and manner made an impression on me which I could never efface. A deportment so firm, so dignified, but yet so modest and composed, I have never seen in any other person. As Washington himself understood about Americans, people unused to restraint must be led, they will not be drove." Another wonderful comment that I just could not pass up this year was George Washington died at the end of December in 1779, did not make it to the next century. At his funeral, one of his generals, General Light Horse Harry Lee, who, if you remember your history, was the father of Robert E. Lee, said famously, as eulogized Washington as first in war, first in peace, and first in the hearts of his countrymen. In 2026, it is our duty to ensure that honorific remains as true as when it was first spoken. And I thank you so much for this recommendation and this proclamation.
Anything else?
I think we're good.
You don't have any? You did it for the morning?
No, I was kind of expecting you to shoot it with it. But that's okay. I remember it was a couple of years ago, you asked me what was his middle name. Took me a year to figure out he didn't have a middle name. They didn't use middle names until the middle name. No, well, that's what, thank you for this presentation on this honor for the father of our country, on behalf of Sons of the American Revolution.
That was a trick question, sorry.
No,
We talked about his teeth last time,
no,
so
we can't.
in the past.
We were setting briefs, we talked about that.
We did.
Yeah.
That's where I must.
Oh, that's weird. Okay.
In the past year, that has come up some, and, there's something about. What was it?
I asked,
What, hippopotamus?
I asked
Okay.
General Washington if he had hippopotamus in his dentures, you know, because people said he had wooden dentures. But he also, the implants in the wood were, fashioned out of hippopotamus. So when I asked you that, I think the judge said, oh, that just can't be right. So what we do, we Googled it, and sure enough, it said,
So
yeah.
he had horrible mouth problems. I mean, they all did. I mean, their dental health back then was ghastly. He was constantly, as I understand, constantly going back and forth to England and France and Europe looking for, he could send me 3 of these. So hopefully finding something that would actually fit and work. And I can't imagine trying to build the teeth. But
He went to Europe.
well, he had them sent to him. Send me dentures. This was a very common, this was not an uncommon problem. But hippopotamus teeth, thank you, Commissioner.
Yes.
I'll have to wear it down.
But if I remember, when you were doing that comparison in Google search, it was hippopotamus teeth, a combination of hippopotamus teeth, horse teeth.
Or horse teeth, and I think maybe giraffe bone or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, because it cannot be a mouthful of hippopotamus teeth. That would-
Always fun to come and visit with you, Your Honor. And commissioners.
I will add one thing, there are descendants of the Revolutionary War buried here in Texas. I married into a family that has,
There's a couple areas here, I'd like to have you.
speaking of, my wife's very grandfather, so.
When we lay the wreaths at the cemeteries, every night you'll find somebody that was actually in that group that said the war.
It was a civil war. We were fighting against our government. It really was not a revolution. It really wasn't.
So when the county takes off this coming Monday, President's Day, we honor
George Washington's birthday
and
and Abraham Lincoln, the combined federal government combined two.
not Jefferson.
No. I'd rather see them unbound the two and have them separate, frankly. That's my personal belief. Just recognizes his birthday is February 22nd. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you both for your time.
I appreciate it.
That takes us to item 7, which is the no three truck traffic.
We gotta go on this. And then vote on the dates.
We didn't vote
On the proclamation.
On the property.
yeah, but if you look at the proclamation, it was just by me. I tell you what, if you want to do a vote of confidence, I appreciate it, so sure. Did you write that?
So I'll move to approve the proclamation declaring February 22nd, 2026. George Washington Day in Blanco County.
Is there a second?
I'll say.
Commissioner Weir, discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Huzzah!
So I have to do what you serious. Now we've got item 7. Commissioner Riley.
Okay, so we've had our discussion. With that said, I move to approve the order prohibiting no through truck traffic on Cox Road, Lindeman Lane, and Tejas Trails.
Is there a second? Evidently, I'm gonna second it.
Thank you.
Discussions.
That's what I was looking for, was the discussion. We talked about having DEC, have the ability to go in and out. Is that something that we have to designate them as essential or something of that sort? There's other vehicles too, water drilling rigs. They are very heavy when they come in. And then we run up and down that area too. And they do pass through there and they work their boat. So how do you designate that? Not that I don't want them to do it. I mean,
If they're passing through, that's what we're trying to prohibit, these heavy trucks from passing through and tearing up our roads. So they're gonna have to go up. Now, if they're doing business on one of these roads, then of course they have to take the road to get to where they're doing business in. And so that's not that's not the problem at hand. The problem at hand is stopping them from going from 32 to 165 or vice versa as a cut through to save a handful of miles on Terriffill County roads and our bridges and possibly cause accidents. I was on Tejas Trails and had to physically pull into somebody else's property to avoid a truck, a guy that was coming through with a truck. Right there at the bridge.
I understand that I've got a few of those roads too, in my precinct.
Right.
I was just wondering for the sheriff's sake, or what, how do you plan on enforcing that? Do you stop that truck and ask him where he's going? Is he passing through or is he going to a local address there? How do you enforce this one?
So I'm gonna invite you to keep coming up with examples, because there may be more that I'm missing, but I can distinguish between the well-building rig and PEC in this way. PEC, if they're going down one of those three roads, I'm gonna assume that they have an immediate call to go to. That's why they're using another truck traffic road. Well, but it's over and they need to get there then, and they're probably need to not stay any longer, and then go to the next service establishment, whatever. But a low-loading truck, that big heavy loading rig that I see, it's gonna go on site somewhere and stay there for a while. And it's just convenient to shortcut through one of those three roads. That seems different to me.
Yeah, but how do we determine that? I mean, how do you, when you see them coming in front of your house, how do you determine that? Not that I know of.
I don't know, if I live there and I watch the truck go by, I don't know, I would determine that, I'm not gonna run out and flag them down.
Yeah.
When I get a citizen's arrest, and I don't know where they're turning in, but if I'm a deputy and I'm on Cox Road, and the big heavy truck goes by me, and I've got the time, I'm not, investigate to see where he does, if he comes out on 32, he has been a through truck traffic situation.
I agree with you.
And I think, the deputy would justify the citing.
I believe once you get the signage up in there, you'll see the reality of it, you'll see who's gonna take heed and who's not. But I agree with you, I've got the same problem, just gotta figure out how to enforce it.
I think we all do.
Yeah, so.
Connie, you go to the second page of this order.
Number.
There are two bold print lines that say public hearing commission report. And it's the first one that I'm having trouble with. This is April 26, 2021. Is that a misprint?
Yes.
Yes.
And then you
You
go
can-
to the second bold print and it's got today's. date.
Okay. Yeah, Commissioner Riley and the county attorney's office did not catch that either. So yes, that would need to be taken out.
Well, we just alter it to, or would you take it?
Just take that out.
Commissioner Riley.
Yeah, that whole first one could actually be taken out. It didn't get deleted out of there.
Is that part of your motions?
Sure, yes,
I will incorporate it into my second further discussion.
I have two questions. One is for Mrs. Speeds. Kristen, can you come up? Sorry to put you on the spot. However, just saying this, can you tell me on a typical dump truck, dual tandems as the county has, what is the rating of that truck? What is the gross vehicle rating of that truck?
I guess it's gonna depend on what you're hauling in it.
I mean, like, so for instance,
I mean, is it a dump truck? Or
yes,
what
a
are your
dump truck.
trucks?
I'm just saying a dump truck.
Do you have a renewal?
80,000.
Have one?
Is it 80,000?
Well, that's, now you're talking class 9 or 10.
56,000 would be what you would have to not have it under 2290.
saying, I believe my Mack dump truck, which is dual tandems, is rated at 56,000.
56,000.
So I can travel that road without any issues.
By the statute of this, yes.
So it's not preventing everybody from doing it.
No.
It's just, it's just the larger semi 18-wheeler style.
Heavy, cement trucks, semi trucks, heavy load dump trucks. Yes,
Not a perfect.
So a heavy load dump truck that has additional access.
Larger truck is probably gonna be into that, because they're way, I don't know the weight of that. I mean, that would be,
Say 56,000 is your max before you have to have additional provisions to run that truck. You might be. It requires you to pay a tax to the IRS.
So for instance, the county-owned dump truck, dual tandems, running material every day. I'm legit to drive back and forth and there's nothing you can
by
say
this ordinance,
by
yes.
this ordinance. Okay.
And now,
Think that's all, that was my question.
going off of what Chris was talking about, the state statutes, how much county roads can, because I wanted to go to 35,000 pounds. And then I quickly found out that the state will not allow that unless we have a, we applied for or asked for them to come out and do weight load limits on the road, which is looking at the bridges, seeing if they can hold that, looking at the cattle guards and everything and making sure. And if they deem that we can go below that, then at that point we can. But at this particular point, state statute keeps me from going below 60,000 pounds. This is a start, and I plan on sticking with this and moving on with that procedure of trying to get these roads tested for weight limits.
I appreciate what you're doing because it is a kind of a model for us to watch and see. You apply it to other areas.
Why did I have to do the second?
Because I had to ask questions before I said.
My second question is for the sheriff. Sheriff, in your opinion, when I'm a property owner that lives on one of these roads and I see that dump truck going back and forth, am I to call 911?
No, you can call them on emergency line, but the whole idea of this whole thing is through traffic. I don't know why we're worried about dump trucks, I don't know why we're worried about PEC or the construction trucks going to the site. It's designed to stop or slow the traffic from through traffic. That's what we would enforce.
So I listen to the radio quite often and I hear numerous times we got reckless driving, 281, and you're trying to catch them, trying to chase them down.
Right.
Are you going to start sending a deputy or trying to contact the constable's office to go out there and control that? And then you'll have to take and look at the registration of that vehicle, make sure it's registered over 60,000.
Well, that's what we do. Find out what's going on. We did the same thing on the dope wires, going on the farm market, or Ranford. I mean, if we get a call and we got somebody available, we will check them out, see if they're permitted to be on that road, or if they're going through it, or if they have a reason to be.
So y'all would actually set up out there.
Right, set up.
Yeah.
If we got a call, or a consistent call, that hey, we're coming through this time, whatever, I'll see if I have somebody available to go out.
I just don't want to push out an expectation
This is.
that as soon as they do this, I'm gonna call the sheriff's office, he's gonna come out here and write a ticket. I don't want to push that out, that's all I'm trying to say.
At this point, nothing.
Let's get started then, right?
But by the way, speaking of the signage, until this goes through, I wasn't gonna go out and buy signs, so it's still gonna take a little bit to get a hold of the sign making company and get the signs made up and get them installed, because there's even how far you can put them away from the road you're coming off of, either the 32 side or the 165 side, they can only be so far inside, or else the sheriff or the constable would not be able to do anything. If they're 102 feet in, then somebody can fight it and say, well, that's 102 foot away from 32, and they could get off that ticket. So there's all these little things, I mean, that have to go into play. So it's not gonna happen tomorrow, but we're moving in the right direction.
Sheriff, I stepped away for a second, but I was listening and, I want to just clarify. That I thought I heard you saying that, you know, it's about through traffic and they shouldn't call 911 necessarily. I guess I'm wanting to make sure that the sheriff, the high sheriff of Blanco County and the commissioners in their precincts are on the same page, and that people like, Mr. Dodger and Ms. Wigan, can rely that when a commissioner turns the road into another truck traffic road, that the sheriff takes that seriously.
Yes.
I notice sometimes when weights and measures are out on the highway, that the side traffic seems to pick up. Absolutely. People start taking the side track, side roads.
Well, and a good bit of that is this order has a $200 limit. And a weights and measures ticket can reach into the thousands.
But that's also a violation of technology, kind of before that way.
That's
Yes, that was saying.
Anyone else? Commissioners, discussion? Or prohibiting through traffic?
Can I just add one thing? When you are heading, no,
You know, normally no, but I'm feeling marshmallow today, so go ahead. Go ahead.
I would just, one thing that I neglected to bring up here, the intersection of Cox Road and 32 is not exactly a perfect cross. It's Cox Road hits 32 at kind of an angle. And the trailer trucks that are coming northbound on Cox Road cutting through, when they come to 32 and turn back toward 281, that hill is right there.
There was this lawyer named Howard Rose, he's a very, very prominent lawyer in Austin, and he could make a stunning argument. And I would watch him do it, and then I could tell that the board was ready to vote, and he kept going. And I guess I would say to you, you're good, but I think we're ready. Anything else, commissioners? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 8, Ms. Adama. Before we get started, I want to pose a comment that you want to hold in, you propose an idea that you want to hold in your presentation. Hold in commission. Because we're about to talk about contracts with the various entities in Blanco County that hold elections. So anyway, some of the prominent ones, the schools in the cities. And we as the county, I believe, we can have this discussion, but I believe we all are on the same page of wanting the county to hold the elections for these entities for lots of reasons. But it's for uniformity, for the lack or for a minimizing of confusion. Because of the system that we spend a lot of money on, commissioners funded, is a great system that, in simple terms, you don't have to worry about what did they mean when they put a check mark instead of a dot or X. Our system takes care of all that.
Right.
And so for all those reasons, we want customers, we want the school districts and the cities to work with you to hold their elections.
Yes.
And, and then the discussion you're about to get into is how much does it cost? How much do they share? And I just want to make sure when we lay this out that everybody's clear. You usually, I say usually so far, I think it's been always, but you usually give a city or a school district a number and say, this is what we think it'll cost you. And they sign a contract with us for that number.
Right.
And then you usually wind up charging less for whatever reason. It costs less somehow or other, or we spread the cost out for whatever reason. But it kind of seems like a under promise over delivery kind of thing. We do it, we manage to keep the cost low with it.
Yes.
And yet they still sometimes are reluctant or have angst about signing this. And here's the concept I would like you all to discuss. I would like us to put in the contract, and I don't see this earlier, this Patrick in the room. I would like for us to put in the contract a not to exceed clause. So whatever the number is that you and would fix for Blanco ISD, fix the ISD, it'd probably be less because it all historically it's been less.
Yes.
But if it gets to that number, it won't be more than that. They can have confidence that that's their number, and if it exceeds that, then the county will pick it up.
Yes.
And I would say that because, and you can please comment, I say that because I believe that would give the cities and schools less heartburn about signing on with us if they know they have confidence that it won't be more than the number that's on the page.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I have to take over your introduction.
No, you're fine, but I am happy to say that yesterday, last night, we did go to the Johnson City ISD school board meeting and they did pass. To contract with me for the election, however. They did put not to exceed a certain amount, which is the amount that I presented in contract with the cities, with both cities. City of Blanco also put in a not to exceed. And Johnson City did not, but they already know what to expect and they've always paid the cost of it. So I asked the court, I initially gave, initially when I send out the contracts, I'll send out an email to both school districts and the two cities and ask if they're interested in contracting my services. And the city of Blanco and the city of Johnson City have contracted in the past. But with the school district, they have to share a location with us in the case that they have an election and we have an election. That causes confusion here at this location because we have to split the room in half. And voters are voting for the cities and then they're voting a different ballot for the school board. When in the case that they have an election, so I'm just trying to have one ballot for all the entities, so there is no confusion for the voters. It makes it easy for them just to vote on one ballot versus two different ballots, possibly three ballots with the Blanco ISD as well.
What happens if the school district election folks have a curbside vote request?
In the case that they have a curbside vote here in Johnson City, it requires for the voter to contact me or to text me, to call me. And then I have to ask them, what, are they here to vote for the city? Are they here to vote for the school district? And if so, if they're here to vote for both, then you've got 5 or 6 people going out to a car to give them 2 separate ballots. So one ballot, it just makes it, streamlines the election and doesn't cause confusion for those voters.
What if it's just for the school district election? Can they do curbside?
They still have to use my services.
So even if you're on contract
Yes,
with them for Blanco County services, you're having to give Blanco County services.
right. I still have to build their election in the Secretary of State voter registration system because they don't have access to that system. So I still have to build them the election so that they can have an official list of registered voters. They still use our services because we both share the curbside. In the case where they had a bond election, we were able to report about 8:30, report the results to the cities. Whereas the school district was using our building, we had to wait here until they finished hand counting because they do have count their ballots. So I think Tony and I were here till about 1:30. Waiting for them to finish hand counting, and they started at 10 a.m. So,
When you could have closed at 7 or 8 or.
well, we probably could have closed at 8:30 and been done.
But the flip side is, the people that come to the curbside, and the people that use the buildings are not only ISD taxpayers, they were Blanco County taxpayers too.
Yes, they are. So, initially, initially only the two cities requested a contract and we split the cost based on the number of voters, so they received theirs. And then Johnson City ISD called and they were interested in revisiting it and looking at the contract and seeing how much it would cost for them to come in on it. And it still seemed like it was too much for them to take up that cost. I think it was like around 25,000 that they would be paying, 24, 25. But I've removed some of the cost for their election, for not their election, anybody that's contracting. I've removed the cost of site support, so they don't see the site support on there, which is $5,000 something. And I've also removed the cost of them renting the equipment. We generally use about 130 pieces of equipment. We bill them at $100 per piece of equipment. In the past, I've only billed them for half of that cost. But in discussion with the judge, and it's the same taxpayer money that purchased that equipment is the same taxpayers that live in Blanco County that vote for the school, that vote for the city. So I subsidized those costs and removed all the cost of the equipment. And so last night, when at the board meeting, that's what they voted on the I believe it was 15,000 that they would cap it off at, along with the city of Blanco.
So before we open up to the commissioners to question you, just to summarize. Today, you're asking for approval for all 4 contracts, and are they still needing county attorney approval, or have they?
I have not heard back from the county attorney's
So it needs
office.
to be county attorney.
So yes, it's still gonna be county attorney's.
Like you're asking for all 4.
There's 3 entities that are participating, but I do wanna say that Mr. Keen is here to talk a little bit about the school board and subsidizing any additional costs in the case that it's just the school board who has an election.
Can you stand by and have her come up?
Yes.
Really don't have a lot to add, but last night the board members asked me to come. I'm sorry. Got allergy problems. And just say that if we were to hold an election, would there be a possibility? We had originally budgeted $10,000 for an election, but common sense prevailed and felt like it was a lot better and it's safer to do it with county. But possibly we were told that the commissioners would have the right to subsidize the difference of what's we budgeted for and what the actual cost ends up being, which was 16,854.
Yes.
Something like that. So,
Can I?
yeah,
I don't know that this is an answer, but this is a thought that I have. and I may be putting out something that I shouldn't necessarily say. I think that the city, both cities, are committing to, as much of an expense as somewhere in the neighborhood of $15,000 or $16,000.
Okay.
I think that Ms. Dobby is calculating, I would say this is maybe a glass half full or really honest to you, that the actual expense is gonna be as little as a fourth of that, or a third of that.
She did mention that.
And if that's so, I don't see why if the JCI is getting us to 16, then whatever it is. That you
Not
might
to exceed.
right, but that you wouldn't also be be the recipient of a reduction based on the final outcome of the cost.
It's very good.
But
It's possible.
I guess none of us know, I think that it is commitment.
Well, and we're willing to deal with it, even if it came to $16,854, but, I know that for next year, we'll budget in to make sure that we have enough, what we think will be cushion. And we can always come in and adjust our budget this year, but this was just something that, other school board members asked me to go in and suggest to y'all, I guess, to seat.
So what's the answer to that, if it's, if when you're done with the elections in May and the final number is $10,001 for JCISD, you ask the board to waive the dollar?
Well, I can't say that because it depends on, I mean, this is only an estimate. I mean, I can't stress that enough that it's an estimate, so it depends.
She made that.
I'm saying this well past the estimate that you've now elections are over, you've now calculated the number. And their number is $10,001. So I guess it's her that become an estimate, so waive the dollar.
Yes, I guess at that time, yes, after the invoice has been issued.
Correct.
Good.
I have a feeling that seems like it was a school board, but probably what I do in here last night.
Yes.
And does that answer the question?
It does for me, but you have 4 other people that may have questions.
Okay. All right.
Sounds good.
My question's for Rosemary, not for.
Okay, enough for me.
No.
I can sit down now. Thank you. Thank you for the time. Yes, sir.
So my question again, we've talked about this before, but if this Blanco ISD was to have an election, if they was to participate in contract with the county as well, we could pretty much cut these numbers in half.
Yes, the more entities that participate, the least the cost is for them.
And I do understand that they don't have an election every time, so.
Yes, not every.
It's kind of thing in the air.
Yes. Any other questions?
So, at this point, I guess you would like to see someone make a motion to approve the new election contracts
Yes, it is.
and authorize. Is it me or you? that
Yeah.
Executes it.
Rosemary.
Authorize you to execute the contracts.
Yes.
So I'll make a motion to approve the contracts for the city of Blanford, city of Johnson City, and Johnson City IFD for the May 2nd, 2026 uniform election pending county approval, and for the Rosemary Adame to sign those.
Is there a second? Commissioner with discussion. Anything else?
No, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 9. I brought this to the court last regular meeting, and asked you to approve a policy regarding hot tax distributions and require receipts, and I was asked to consult with the hot tax committee. Is Kelly here? Yes. Here she is. Kelly held the first hot tax meeting down in Blanco of the committee, and I attended, and it was a good first meeting. They took care of several items of business, but in the process, I told them the idea of the policy like I presented to you, and they were, I would say, unanimously in favor of a receipts policy. The only distinction, and I think in your package you have option 1 and option 2, but I think it's option 2 that they recommended now. And what they would like to see, instead of 60 days after the 5th of May, they would like to see I believe they actually didn't hear it was 30 or 60, but a number of days after the project is complete, of which the money was provided. So I gave you those options. Option 2 would be I guess the one committee was most favorable to.
Yes, the one where it's after the project completion.
You want to back up and talk about the meeting in general, or just policy, or?
Yeah. So we met and we talked about, just our process for scoring. Oh, okay, thanks. Not too big. There we go. For scoring our applications that came in, we had, three come in that we can review, and then almost just as many after the fact, but our committee voted like, we're not gonna accept late applications. But yeah, so
I didn't say anything to the committee at the time. It was rolling around in my head, and I thought it would be better said in here with the commissioners. But all along, when we set up this committee and the agreement that I had with the people that were pushing for the committee was everything is ultimately in their control.
right,
So if it seems to me that even if I'm not saying it's a good idea or a bad idea, I'm just saying, even whether or not a late application is ultimately considered, it would be, I mean, in the end, it's the commissioner's court that.
okay, do we need to,
No, I think they should,
Okay.
I think they should stick to their guns and do what they're doing it, which is, as I recall, they voted to just process the timely ones.
yeah,
I'm just saying that if there's some untimely ones in there, they don't necessarily get it lost away, but they're still available. For some reason, the listeners want to make allowances, variances, exceptions, whatever they call it.
and yeah, the applications are saved, we need them at a later date.
And that is the other thing, if they're late for this distribution, in a way, they're early for
Next one.
the next one, right?
Right. And so, yeah, it's just a different review period.
Which just takes a little longer for all the.
Right. And so that was our main, decision was the receipt policy was, 60 days after, like, because if they have an event or, some other project they're doing, they mentioned that it's often easier just to like get everything done and then submit the final product then as you go. Just the way they're built for that sort of thing.
Would you say that they were, Mr. Stutz, for example, who's on your committee, would you say that you seem a little surprised because everybody involved in OpEx requires access proof of expenditures and receipts?
I'm not sure if he seemed surprised. I don't know if I was looking at it when we made that that conversation. But from the view I had, no one seemed like that was an outrageous request. It was just. They were expected to show proof of how they were spending for offense.
So, anything else?
No, that's it.
I suppose I have to actually make a motion because I'm not going to.
I'll make a motion. I thought they were still talking. So I'll make a motion, to approve option 2 and use 60 days on that, after completion for the, receipts be turned into. So make the motion, to approve the, option 2 regarding the hotel occupancy tax application process and add 60 days to that blank budget.
Is there a second? I'll say, Commissioner Lear, discussion. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Kelly. So, just for the court's information, next step is you'll meet, and y'all have created this, or you created kind of scoring.
Yes, so we have a scoring document that, kind of weights, different parts of the application differently of like, will it serve, like, will it put heads in beds is worth the most points, obviously, because that's the point of the hot tax. And then, just different qualifiers that are based on the application to see who comes up with the highest percentage score.
Do you, or are you willing and prepared to, work with entities that clearly are tourism industry oriented, but do not have overnight housing? But, heads and beds is the mantra.
So,
But some people might have an event that, I don't know, a distillery, that brings tourism in, maybe those people will stay. Do you work with, say, that distillery, they understand and maybe can articulate how they're putting heads in beds by having everything?
yeah, so part of their application is to, kind of give their projection or their past results, if it's like a recurring event, of how many like out of town guests they had at their event or their distillery for some time, or whatever business they had. And based on that information, it's like, okay, so they're not running like a hotel per se, but they're using these funds to bring people to our hotels. And so that's kind of the ideal use for hot taxes, is bringing people to come stay in our hotels. Whether it's a hotel applying for it or like one of our other entities, businesses.
Anyone have anything else? Well, thank you, Kelly, for helping with this process.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Item 10 on your agenda is a request for a budget amendment. I'm sorry, it's a budget amendment, but it is a change order. Originally, we're looking at two estimates, one of them is 48,300, and that is more like, if that is year one for carpeting, and 64,850, if that includes first floor, laminate to match the laminate that's already downstairs in the courthouse. But as close as possible, apparently the exact is hard to find. And the reason this is new is because the engineer came along after the fact, as you may or may not recall. And they designed those big satellite mount beams that were installed in December the 3rd, I think. But to do that, back in November and October, maybe September, they had to go into Miss Doyle's area and Judge Broadbeck's area, Miss Swift's area, and the mail room. And install support poles, supporting columns. And to do that, they had to, take out, all of the carpets, some of the flooring and other things. And so now they have to go back in and put it back like it was. Honestly, I'll tell you, I've all been through, but honestly, I like the idea of continuing on piece by piece, in this case, adding 4 more rooms of the wood flooring to the bottom floor. If we can, it's a little more expensive though, so. It's up to you all to pay between them and they're in a hurry, and I asked if I had enough time to bring this to the court, and obviously we do, so, because we're here. And I wanted the court to tell us which way we need to go on this, and this does not account for anything different in the upper court from the main court, it would still be the carpeting, kind of like it is in. This is really about the first of all, is why it's a little more, will be a little, it's the more expensive option. I'll just say that I think that in the end, ultimately, it would be nice if the entire first floor, maybe much of the second floor, or that laminate wood flooring look. And I think it's worth the cost, honestly. How long have we had that laminate flooring down on the hallway areas? Several years, and it was held up in my mind. It did perform better than I thought it would, because it's not loud. You know? Hear it a lot when you're walking. So I think it's a nice addition to the courthouse. I'd like to see the commissioner's court continue that trend, but it is a little more expensive, so it's up to you. That's all I have.
So Judge, the question I have is kind of based on what you were just referring to. Did the architect give you any thought process of how much more it would echo taking the carpet out of it, or would it echo anymore?
No, I don't think, I can tell you that I don't want to drop anybody in the grease, but I can tell you that one of the persons, not Ms. Swift, that was interested in getting this flooring, the wood laminate flooring, had no issues with the noise factor. It was, and I haven't had anybody come to me and say that they've heard any issues with the noise factor. But no, I did not ask the architect specifically that question.
I just know, like in this room here, that was a part of the echo that you get. You know, it was from mistakes we made at that time. But with being concrete walls and all those offices, it's just another noise factor. I don't know what Mr. Weir thinks about that.
Well, there's other ways to absorb that sound too, soundboards on the walls and, grates, different things that will absorb that. Even in the corridor of the south annex too.
Well, I would say that the difference between, I'm not a big word flow fan, but the difference between yours and this stuff is it has that, I don't know if it's rubber, but some sort of cushioned backing that tends to absorb impact and sound.
Sort of floating floor.
I think, is that what they call it?
I believe so. It is not glued down.
So it's a floating floor with insulation underneath it.
Yes, there's a pad.
The existing is.
Yes,
I don't know about, that's what they're talking about. I mean, I'm hoping that they're talking about doing something like we already have.
that was my understanding, that it was going to be.
So I guess to put it to you succinctly is, do we want to continue the work toward the courthouse having, that kind of flooring throughout the bottom floor and elsewhere? And starting here with an additional, $16,000 for doing,
I prefer to tie it together and go ahead and, invest in the floor that ties the upstairs, downstairs together. They're there to do that. And, I think towards the other end, we'll appreciate it after it's in. So,
So never, obviously I share that, but I've never asked Ms. Swilling if, who's living in one of these four, whose business life is living in one of these 4 rooms. Do you care or object to extending the wood laminate into your office?
No, I think it's a good move. It's a lot easier to take care of than the carpet.
And you probably have as much to say about the mailroom as anybody. You believe that's true there too?
Yes.
So the only one that's a question mark for me, and I can find, if we go 3 rooms, Judge Rockbeck and yours, we're already 3/4 of the way there, but that, the other room would be Miss Doyle's, that's really not part of the office. I mean, it is, but it's more like storage. So I don't know if it's all that great, but I'm not sure it's gonna matter if we're laminating or not. Other than if we're doing it, we might as well keep doing it.
Right.
so uniform.
All right, well, those, anyone else? I'm really not wanting to make the motion on this one because I brought it to you, I urged it, but if you don't want to do it, we won't do it. I guess though, we need to have some kind of a motion because it's gonna cost more money whether we do carpet or whether we do the laminate, that was originally budgeted by, the contractor because they didn't contemplate the engineer requiring those columns.
Well, I'd like to make a motion to, accept the proposal of for the flooring in the bottom floor courthouse contract. Price is quoted at $64,850. Like to accept that proposal.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Reaper, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 11, Sierra website service change forms. It's got my name on it, but, Connie is probably the most knowledgeable person who's basically with the Sierra people on this, but essentially, Sierra is doing this across the state, right? Almost requiring counties to have a legal delivery.
No, you have to be ADA compliant. And this is to, convert our current website into an ADA compliant website. Based on the size of the county, we technically have until 2027 to do it. But if we do it in 2026, it will save us about $9,000. But if we do it in 2027, if we do it this year, it would be $9,550. If we do it in 2027, it will be $18,500.
Can you explain to me what an ADA,
Basically, in our conference this past week, it was showing a blind person on the internet, on their computer. And when they scroll down to a link that may just say, it might have https://www.co.blanco.tx.us. It does not tell them their computer does not read it to them. Currently. So we would have to change basically every link that we're going to for, like, say, the criminal docket. It would have to say criminal docket, county court criminal docket, such and such date. Even as far as the PDF documents for the burn ban or the agendas, everything that is currently on, we will have to convert where the computer will read that PDF document to them.
Is this a federal?
Yes, it is. We have no choice.
Federal
Yes,
part of the Americans with Disabilities Act?
correct.
I understand. I laugh a little bit because whenever I do reverse 911 to the public and you do the text to speech, as we all know, it says Blanco, or something
You
like
have to
that.
add an E to Blanco.
So I go in there and I put in blank O, and that makes it sound right, so, but yeah, then you have to change it back for the emails, so make it all right. Cause you gotta say blank, just like pronouns, but anyway, so I understand that hovering over voice applications.
Yes,
A lot more.
yeah, you just can't say click here, or it has to be explained, so it will read it to that person.
And if you have to do that with all your documents as well,
Yes,
so like a burn ban.
yes, it will have to, it's
Be
another,
able to be transcribed through a voice over.
yes.
Okay. I
And
make a
they,
motion to authorize the county judge to sign the Sierra website service change form along with the tax Sierra service agreement to choose a new look for the website.
Is there a second? Second. Mr. Riley, discussion. Thank you both so much. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Motion carries. Item 12, Motorola agreements.
So this is our standard Motorola agreements that we've done in the past. This comes out of the Western Regions Fund, so this number here does not technically come out of Lakewood County. We pay a percentage of these, through the Western Regions, through the Vernon County Auditor. So I make a motion to authorize the county judge to sign the 2 Motorola service agreements.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Eaton. Discussion. I'm sorry, what did you say about audit?
The Vernon County Auditor will invoice us our percentage.
That's right. Vernon County's the,
We do not pay these.
Vernon County's the administrator
Correct.
of
Of the 3 counties. And after these 2 have been completed with the acceptance of the text dot integration, we will no longer have to pay those. Text dot's going to pick up the bill.
Which seems unbelievable, but okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Item 30. That's bad.
I don't know how much discussion everyone wants to get into regarding work man. What I can say is, well, since we left it, Commissioner Wilson and I ran almost the exact same numbers minus. I haven't really yet. There were reported burns to dispatches around 392. Out of those 390 burns, 17 were reported vegetation fires. And roughly between 160 to 500 acres of fires and walls. That number's kind of skewed, because some of those were actually fields that were already burning prior to the losing control. So 392 reported control burns is about 4% at out of our number that are out of control. So I did recommend before that we lifted it based on what we saw in the data. I was wrong. Issues quite favorable, as of other kinds follow the same suit, and we've all suffered the same consequences. So at this time, I recommend that we implement it on the kind.
Do you recall my asking you to get when you contacted me late last week about the idea of the disaster declaration and closing and birth and for up to today for the commission still to consider. And I asked you, and you indicated that all 3 fire chiefs in Blanco County supported the idea of the disaster declaration. And yes, and I asked you if they would document that, and they would not.
That's correct. That's right. On Friday, so we lived in the burn ban. We started experiencing some significant grass fires. I contacted each chief by phone. The judge did ask me to get him the group message. We could get him by. So no chief would actually respond on the group with all the chiefs. So we allowed the burn.
And I was wondering if you received a copy of this email yesterday, Monday the 9th at 5:24 p.m.
Matt,
From Brian Bickford, City Councilman, Johnson City, Texas, Gentlemen, please reinstate a countywide burn ban immediately. Conditions are too dry to sustain intentional voluntary brush clearing fires. It's very apparent over the last 2 to 3 days that the landowners are incapable of controlling their fire.
Yeah, I've received several similar emails and phone calls and put them on social media. And back on, I will say the commissioners vote to implement the burn ban today, just as of right now, 2 of our neighboring counties are currently burn bans with it, so burning Kendall County, so. Our fire departments will still have to probably respond to other areas until this week. Stays around what we use in Lebanon County before.
So what did you say, burn it in Kendall?
Currently burning, in Kendall County have no burn ban. All of our neighborhood counties do, burning by today, go into one after the
So
other.
this is,
That's not close, they haven't, I don't know the last time they updated that. When I click on Blanco County, it says the September date. So that map is not accurate. Burning by today, the only county I know probably 85% won't is Kendall to the health department. And I think they're really good as well.
Is Mr. Leach the chief of the Blanco Fire Department?
That's right.
Are there any other chiefs here?
No, I did talk to Chief Policeman Whitney this morning. He asked for the burn ban, the only thing he asked if the burning was back on, which is kind of out of our, because there's some website issues, is there's a whole PDF stored on the website that shows the burn ban is off if you Google. I know you're supposed to still call the sheriff's office, but a lot of people use Google, and when they see that old PDF on the page, they assume that the burn is.
You know what happens when you assume?
Fireman.
There's another expression.
Yeah.
so I do disagree with you. I don't think that you made the wrong decision. I've been on these fires. I know that it's taxing for our agencies. Responding, I think I've come up with like 1.3 calls per day for volunteers. That's a lot. They get tired of it. So, but the numbers are, they did do there was a lot of control burns done in the past 2 weeks. So, and on the fire call yesterday, I don't know if you ever on that, they talked about how the grasses, the dry fuels are burning, but it's not getting into the trees, staying on the ground. And we've witnessed it. We've sit there and watched it, the back burns that we've done. It just is slowly creeps back. However, it's no fun going out there on Sunday during the Super Bowl, fighting fire, because I was there, so it's okay.
I will say too, some of these fires are panic fires. As soon as it broke, what they felt like as a containment, they called 911 right away, and a lot of resources got requested because everybody's worried. But a lot of those fires, we allow them out to a fire break or to a roadway. So we intentionally bring that fuel away. But it has been taxed, and all of the fire departments have responsibility. Vegetation fire.
And I will say that I did talk to the chief of Round Mountain yesterday, and he pleaded that we put the burn back on.
I thought we had a communication from him, but I didn't find it. Am I wrong?
The chief did ask, there's a lot of back and forth. The first week, the Grand Mountain chief said, no, not yet, it's on the top of it, and then it slowly transitioned to, yes, it's the burn it back on.
But we were on a fire in Burning County, which was
There was an actual prescriber.
Say that again.
The Vernon County fire was actually a prescribed, like, management burn.
Was it technically a prescribed burn manager, or was it just somebody said that this is
I
mine?
think I heard it.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
however, he got his field burned, so it worked out with that.
I'm just checking because I feel like last night it was the Round Mountain Fire Chief had a message, expressed an issue, expressed a concern about this issue, but I can't find it, so.
I'm saying he said he's gonna put it on.
He sent a message on Sunday, or asking if he get the burn ban to all his staff. That was, so that's good.
Yes. I am writing this plea to you to support reinstatement of the Blanco County burn ban as soon as possible. I've expressed this also to Matt McMahon and Chris Leesman. As I'm sure you know, there have been many days in a row countywide where vegetation fires have gone out of control. Some of these are caused by experienced ranchers who usually know how to conduct burning in a safe manner. If the fires are getting away from them, then the conditions are too poor for burning for everyone. Burning has been allowed for a couple of weeks now, so everyone has had time to get their brush right. Our firefighters are weary from fighting so many fires, so please vote to reinstate the ban until conditions improve. Thank you, Jeff Owen, Fire Chief, Brown Mountain. Anything else? No. All right. Anyone have any, we have one other item of business on the agenda, so before we reach adjournment, we will.
Yes, we're getting low on our member.
Well, I have three motions.
Well, I'd like to make one.
Fire away.
I'd like to, make a motion to put the ban on until March, then March the 10th.
Is there a second? May I clarify that if the standard burn ban has the exceptions for barbecue restaurants, et cetera? Discussion?
It's fun while it lasted.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll get into, Brittany Kelly. Not over the microphone this time. I don't know. This is about early committee members, right?
Yes,
Okay.
so for our CDBG Community Development Block Grant application. We're at the stage where we sent out the request for qualifications of engineers. And we need to approve the people to review those qualifications. And so the members that I contacted and agreed to have their arm twisted into being on a committee were Camille Swift, Lee Ellsbury, Ty Walston, and myself. I took the most convincing. But GrantWorks, who's our administrator through this grant, they send us the form from the Department of Agriculture on here's how to qualify engineers, and so they kind of walk us through it, and then the highest scoring submission based solely on qualifications, we present to be either negotiated with, accepted and hired, or passed over and go to the next submission.
So one of the requirements for this committee is that the member has to be an elected official.
Right.
And that's the SWIFT.
Right.
And I don't know if we're really making that far yet or not, but by selecting Ms. Ellsbury, who's apparently running one of those. If this goes past the end of the year.
It could be convenient, but it's supposed to be a short obligation, because we're supposed to, per like our deadlines, we need to be done with this committee in the next like month or two.
And just to refresh everyone, the largest award is $750,000.
Right, and that's
The
what.
financing expenses, which takes us down to the high 600s.
Yes, it takes us down to 620,000, they estimate,
Low 60s.
so, yeah, those. But, and that's with, because while the engineering fees and the administrative fees are covered, they're covered through the grant award, even before we get it. And so when we get our application in, all the pre-application funds are kind of taken out of our award already.
Is this the one where I, as one person, was thinking the Black Creek crossing. Was a big example.
Yes, so. Yeah, we can look at that when we have a public hearing tonight, for anyone to, like, in the public to express their project ideas as well, if there's any. Yeah.
When I say Black Creek, among the millions of Black Creeks, I'm talking about.
Yeah, or whichever one meets the qualifications for the grant, maybe that works.
Is this grant specifically for engineering or is this grant for construction?
It's for construction, so after all the fees are taken out, 620-ish thousand would be the construction budget. Or whatever.
Oh, it would be the grant construction budget.
Yes.
If the court wanted to do something that wanted to report, would be considered budget.
Yes, yeah, so we can have a project in this grant that exceeds that. Because our match is 15,000. And then the grant funds would just like go towards that also.
Oh, this grant fund, what is the time limitation of it?
That, so the Department of Agriculture, kind of sprays deadlines on us, so we're not sure exactly. When the application is gonna be like officially due, they just said like, okay, now you need to have a public hearing. But they don't expect the funds to come to the recipients until. Sometime in 2027, and they haven't specified if that's 26, 27, or 27, 28, so. Stay tuned.
If we're trying to do the Black Creek crossing, and that job with, project will run over $1 million.
So you're seeking a motion to appoint an RQ review committee of Camille Swiftly, Ellsbury, Ty Walston, and Kelly Beeson.
Yes.
So.
Is there a second? Commissioner Weir? Yes. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion carries. I think that leaves us to item 4. You got great.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Not